I am a 28-year-old female. My dog attacked my stalker after he broke into my house. Now my sister-in-law, a 32-year-old female, says my dog is too dangerous to be around my niece, 4 years old. I feel like I'm going crazy. This is kind of a complicated story, but I'll just get into it. I used to be in this controlling, kind of abusive relationship. When I finally broke it off a year ago, my ex started showing up places, trying to get me to take him back. Eventually, it developed into full-on stalking. He would show up at my work, and then decided to just wait outside of it after he was banned, leave notes on my car when I was at the grocery store, leave all kinds of flowers outside my house, and then stick angry notes on my door after he saw me throw them in the trash. He also wrote to me all kinds of weird, obsessive emails and letters. I've had to change my phone number 3 times. The behavior escalated over time and got scarier and more threatening. In one instance, he started a small fire in my driveway, but the police couldn't get enough evidence connecting him to it. It was after that instance that I put cameras in my yard. I previously only had them pointing at my doors. I was horrified to learn that the police couldn't do anything about any of this until my stalker would actually be caught doing something illegal, like breaking into my house. But at that point, I might already be dead. I decided I wasn't spending the rest of my life waiting for the other shoe to drop, so I got a handgun and a concealed carry permit, took some self-defense courses and started doing strength training. I also looked into getting an attack dog, but after all the money I'd sunk into my other methods of protection, they were prohibitively expensive. So, I went to my local animal shelter and got the scariest, meanest looking dog I could find. This is where Thor comes in. He's a 100-pound American bulldog, looks like he'd rip your throat out on sight, but is basically a giant teddy bear. He loves every person he's ever met, is incredibly sweet and gentle with my 4-year-old niece, enjoys other animals, and even loves the mailman. I just kind of accepted that he probably wouldn't do anything to protect me from my stalker, but it didn't matter that much because having such a huge dog made me so much more confident. I brought Thor everywhere I could, and was working on getting him trained enough to be an emotional support animal, so I could bring him inside places with me. I absolutely would not do this until he was trained well enough to not disrupt a regular service dog. Last month, I woke up in the middle of the night to Thor whining. I was groggy and thought he had to go to the bathroom, so I got out of bed and opened the door. At that point, my house alarm went off, and pretty soon after that, I was face to face with my stalker. I started screaming and went running for my gun. Before I could do anything though, Thor ran across the room in full attack mode. The memory is really blurry for me, but there was blood all over my living room and I remember my stalker was eventually able to escape, at which point Thor chased him outside but shortly came back to me. When the police showed up, they said Thor was a hero who'd probably saved my life. I don't want to list what they found in my stalker's car after they caught him, and I'm shaking a little as I type this, but I'm sure he was going to take me somewhere and kill me. It looks like he's going to prison for a long time though, so my nightmare is over. Pretty much everyone in my life thinks Thor is a hero, except my sister-in-law. She and my brother have a 4-year-old, the one I mentioned above, and she says she doesn't want Thor around her, the child, anymore. She says since Thor has snapped in the past, that he could do it again, so he's not safe to have around kids. We used to see each other a few times a week before she decided Thor was dangerous. The way she words this makes me really angry because Thor didn't snap. He saw a stranger break into his home, heard his owner scream in terror, and reacted to defend me, himself, and his house. Nothing about that screams dangerous around children to me, unless my niece is also going to break into my house and threaten me. This is also a very emotional issue because Thor isn't just a dog to me. He's my safe place, my hero, the one who protected me and kept me safe when no one else could. I've also gotten increasingly anxious since this happened, and I can't go anywhere without Thor. I barely leave my house. I pay to pick up my groceries from the store instead of going inside because I know Thor isn't allowed in, and all my friends know that if Thor isn't welcome in their house, then I'm not coming either, although they're perfectly welcome to come to hang out at my house instead. I am really going through it, and am working with a therapist to overcome this. Luckily my work is still fully remote, but I need to be able to go back to the office once things settle back down. But I really need my brother and sister-in-law's support. I believe she thinks I'm just pouting, and that's why I won't just leave the dog home and come over without him. I don't know how to explain to them that the fear hasn't stopped just because my stalker is in jail. It's actually a lot worse than it was before. I've already suggested they come over and I place Thor in a crate, but that wasn't good enough for her. What can I do to make her understand the situation better?
As I read your post, I realized that you have no idea how smart and strong you are. You were threatened and took action. You got a gun, permit, training, cameras, alarm system, a dog, and all the things that I usually have to talk people into. For years I provided a service to victims of stalkers. I would first inform them of their legal rights, tell them their options, help them with filing reports, do a deep background on the stalker, inspect the home for security, advise then on a proper alarm system and changes, find a contractor, help them select a handgun and training, train them what to do at home, at work, on the street, help find a dog, therapist, and many other things. Over the years, I developed a thorough understanding of the mind of stalkers and how to deal with them. I know how helpless you feel when the law says you have to be beaten or killed before they can do anything. Today, most major cities have a support group for people that are harassed by stalkers. Sometimes, I would even have a discussion with the stalker, but that only worked 10% of the time. Stalkers know the law, aren't afraid of much, and are driven by things most people don't understand. I could list the many things we did, including staking out the house and catching them. I was licensed and permitted in everything. I only share this background so that you know that I have more experience at this than most people. The reason I'm replying to your post is to tell you that you did things on your own that I had to push clients to do, because they either were paralyzed with fear, lived in denial, or were passive and had to be pushed into protecting themselves. Some even wanted to move away. Never run from a stalker, and you didn't. In 15 years, I never had one client that took the initiative like you have. You did almost everything right, and you should be proud of your efforts and know that you are strong enough to deal with this and anything else life throws at you. You won. Don't let this piece of trash know that he caused you pain. These sick people get pleasure from your fear. So, as you go forward, don't let your sister-in-law get to you. She has no idea what you went through, and her fear of your dog is baseless. You are really lucky and have one heck of a dog. He saved your life and deserves a great partner like you. Please don't underestimate yourself. I never had one client as strong and smart as you. You should be talking to victims and sharing your story of courage and survival. You would provide a service to victims that think no one understands their constant fear. If you did that, you would be giving yourself therapy. Therapy isn't much more than sharing your fears with someone that understands, and you truly do. How would you respond to the original poster of this story? Please leave your response in the comments section below this video. If you have an interesting or funny personal story that you would like to share, then you can also do that below, or you can send it to me at foggywashington@gmail.com. Who knows? You might just see your story in an upcoming video on this channel. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, as this helps the channel to grow, and to bring you new stories on a regular basis.